to the FDT2 What's New presentation. So my name is Christian Franz. I'm software developer and project manager here at M&M. Yeah. And that's the agenda for this short presentation I will hold. I will briefly go to the main features of FDT2. And I think for most topics we will have further presentations which will go more into details. And yeah, let's start. One new feature of FDT2 is that we are now using the .NET technology and not C++ COM anymore. This means all FDT2 user interfaces are defined as .NET interfaces. It also means that we are using .NET objects to transfer data and not XML documents anymore, which is, I think, easier for most developers because we don't have to parse XMLs anymore. We can straightly use the objects. Also, the business logic can be now implemented in .NET. And the user interfaces, we don't need ActiveX user interfaces anymore. User interfaces can now be implemented with WPF controls and Windows Forms controls. Yeah. Some other main features are FDT2 was designed for better performance. I think Michael Heller will hold a presentation tomorrow about this topic. It's possible to write 64-bit DTMs. So currently, it's not all DTMs are 32-bit COM applications. It's not possible currently to write 64-bit DTMs. Yeah, several design decisions were made for better performance. We have also a faster catalog update, which is good because we have seen that we have more and more DTMs, and currently this catalog update sometimes takes a long time. Also, the parent-child DTM relationship was reworked. We have more granular events. At the moment, we have, for most, the one parameter change event. It's a very generic event which is raised when the tag was changed, the address was changed, and so on. And in FDT2, we have more granular events, which is easier for developers for programming. Also, that's a topic for frame applications. The DTM system tags, a frame application is not allowed to change the DTM system tags anymore. Currently in FDT1, the old specification doesn't say anything about system tags. The system tags can change every time. The system tags are the GUID, which is it's not a tag which is shown in a network view. It's an internal tag which is unique for each DTM. And the system tag sometimes is used in communication DTMs for caching strategies, but it's currently difficult because the frame may change the system tags, and in future this is not possible anymore. It's defined in the FDT2 specification. So, the second topic, new functionalities which are not scoped in the FDT1 specification. As I mentioned it earlier, we can now write WPF controls. You can also use .NET WinForms controls. Maybe we can use other technologies in the future. And it's not necessary to write ActiveX controls anymore. It's also, we can write standalone applications. That's also possible in FDT1. It's not a common feature, but some DTMs have today start their own application. That's also possible in FDT2. The private dialogues mechanism was reworked. Currently, the frame can forbid private dialogues in DTMs. This means DTM is not allowed to open message boxes, to open help files, for example. It's an important part of the certification. And in future, in FDT2, it's allowed that the user interfaces can open private dialogues like message boxes, manuals, help files, and so on. Independent from the frame. The DTM business logic is not allowed to open message boxes. That's already part in FDT1, and it's also not possible in FDT2. Channels do not have user interfaces anymore. This was a feature which was never, I think, which was never used in DTMs. I don't know any DTMs which have channel user interfaces, but it was part of the FDT1 specification, and it's not possible anymore in FDT2, but it was never used in FDT1 too. So in FDT1 we have a big XML file, the parameter document, which contains all kind of data, GSD, the GSD file for Profibus DTMs, the address, the network tag, other network information, process channel information, and so on. And all this data is in one big XML file today. FDT 1.2.1 has introduced a single data interface to get access to the DTM parameters. And this was enhanced in FDT2. We have now more granular interfaces. We have separate interfaces for GSD information, network information, address information, and so on. And we have also dedicated events or notifications about changes. Persistence was enhanced. In FDT1 we have one big stream which contains all data in the DTM. The DTM is only able to load all data at once at the startup, and it can also only save all data. It's not in FDT2. It's possible to have data subsets, so it's not necessary anymore that the DTM loads all data, and it's also a DTM can save only a data subset, and it's not necessary anymore to save the full data. And that's a big improvement in performance and also in loading time. FDT2 defines a lifecycle concept. This is a concept. What happens when we updating a DTM? How we can get the old data from the older version of the DTM? How we can get that data in the new DTM? What happens if we exchange a device in the plant? How we can transfer the parameters which were or the settings from the old device and the new device. This is defined by a lifecycle concept which is currently in work, and this lifecycle concept will provide advice how such use cases can be implemented in a DTM. That's important for the factory automation providers, I think. FDT2 defines a PLC tool interface, which means it's possible to get process image data from different DTMs and provide them in a process image interface. It means, PLC is tool interface is that's a feature that might be used in future by special PLC tool frame applications, and a DTM can implement a process data interface, and it's optional, I think, because it's only important for some vendors. And it's used to collect the data from different slave DTMs. Here a master DTM will collect the data from different slave DTMs and will provide this data in a process image. That's, I think PLC programmers are familiar with such concepts. We have FDT2 defines some security aspects. It's now possible that or DTMs shall be signed with a certificate, so that makes it possible to identify the vendor of a DTM. It's also planned that a DTM publishes information about its certification progress. It means currently we have to go to the FDT group website to see if a DTM is certified or if it's not certified. In future, with FDT2, a DTM might have a signed certificate. But I think Thomas Weller will give you a presentation about it tomorrow. So, the next point is improve interactions between components. I think that's one of the major new features of FDT2. That's the current state in FDT 1.2. We have private interfaces between the DTMs and the ActiveX UIs. It's not defined in the FDT standard how the user interfaces and the DTMs communicate with each other. And we have today a direct DTM to DTM interface interaction. This means the communication between a device DTM and a communication DTM is directly each. And in future, this is separated. We have a common component which separates the UI and business logic interaction. This means there's an interface defined in which way DTM has to exchange data with its UI and in the opposite direction. And that makes use cases possible, like remote, as some remote use cases. You can show the UI on a different PC. And also, it's not possible anymore or we have a common component which manage the DTM to DTM communication. That improves topics like currently we have some problems with threading issues. DTMs behave differently with threads, and in future this is handled by the common component, which makes FDT more stable. FDT2 has a better specification. There's a much better PDF file, and we have also a CHM help file. The installation and deployment concept was reworked. It's, in FDT2 and FDT1, the installation was not defined in the specification, and now FDT2 specification defines some use cases for the setup, like automatic installing or usage of signatures. And also the DTM registration in FDT1, the DTM registration was in the Windows registry. And in FDT2 we have a shared folder on the file system for the registration. So, some things about the protocols. Yeah. In FDT1 we have annexes for each protocol, which is a collection of XML files. In FDT2 we don't use XML anymore. We have .NET interfaces and data objects. And therefore we also have .NET assemblies for each protocol. The Profibus protocol is already released, which means we have a Profibus .NET assembly, and also we have a Profibus annex document. And other protocols will be followed. I think HART will be the next protocol, which will be defined for FDT2. And of course it's also possible to provide own vendor-specific protocol assemblies. That's the same mechanism today. We have vendor-specific XML files. So, and I come to my last slide. Migration from FDT1 to FDT2. That's the topic of the next presentation from my colleague Raphael. So I will not say anything about it. Yeah, and that's all from my side.